Hey guys.
Welcome back to Shut the Smut Up. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I feel like it's been a minute since
really
we
has.
actually videoed it.
It's been since September.
It's been a minute.
Probably
Because
like
we went
September
on
15th.
the coolest vacation.
Yeah.
And we've also just been busy working and stuff, so.
Yeah, it's been about a month
Mhm.
since we made a video.
Yep. Thank God for past us videoing multiple a day. You know. Okay, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about a book called Promised in Fire by Jasmine Walt. This was our book club, annotating, traveling book club book that we were both on.
Yeah. It's called Shadows of Imagination, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this is my second round of books being in this. And I'm like, thank God we're into fantasy because I almost quit.
Yes.
Because I'm not a dark romance girly.
Yeah, this is, I think that was you when you came in. It was our first time ever doing like some like hardcore, just pure like dark romance.
Yeah, well, and you had like, just do it. It'll be so much fun. And I was like, oh, I don't want to annotate. Like, I just kind of had to, like, I was just like, I'm just busy. Like, I don't want to do it. And then I was like, okay. I didn't love the book that I got, and I didn't read the other two. Because people...
I didn't read a single one of them.
Yeah. And then you almost left. And you were like, don't be mad at me. And I was like, I'm going to kick your ass.
But
yeah,
so
okay,
we are here to talk about this book.
Yes. Okay, so I did finish this book.
I DNF'd it.
So I gave this book like a 3 or a 3.5 with like a 0.5 chili pepper.
So me reading it, I was on the 3-star, right? And then I stopped reading it because I got something better.
Well, you were reading like 8 books.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. I ended up getting an arc from an author that I am absolutely in love with all their books. So I gave this up and I tried going back into it and I was like, you know what?
It's not happening.
It's not happening. So
I don't blame you.
I feel like it.
Yeah. I feel like I have a tendency, and we've talked about this, to just trudge through to finish a book. Because in my brain, I feel like I just personally, and I'm not, this isn't anything against
you want to support the author.
Yeah, but like not, and like okay, how do I explain this? Let me take a breath real quick because I have 5,000 things going through my brain.
She's just crazy.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So if people DNF, that's great. Like, you do whatever you want. This is just one of those things where I feel like personally I can't judge a book until I finish.
And I feel like you're wrong in that aspect.
I understand, but I also understand why you feel that way.
Because if you're 50% in and the book is not doing it for you, or I mean, even sometimes 20 to 30%, right?
Yeah.
Stop. And I have to tell myself that we have to DNF something because it's going to put you into a reading slump. It has happened way too many times to me nowadays where I'm just like, I'm going to call a book DNF'd, and I DNF this book. So
I felt that kind of a little bit after this. But I had my Throne of Glass to fall back on, and so I felt like I just kept going. I know. Okay, anyways, let's get into it, right? So, this book had so much potential.
I agree.
I felt like it had so much potential, but it was very rushed. Everything was happening so fast. It was jumping around. But, like, let's start out with some things that I liked, okay? And you tell me if you liked these as well. I'm sure you did. To a point.
Yes.
So, to me, I feel like as of right now, this book series would be like a 14, 15 plus. I feel like 100%. the way it did, it kind of, I feel like that's where I would start. I haven't read the other books, so I can't say like if it gets more adult, if it doesn't, like obviously what happens. I also feel like I just loved the elemental magic in it. I thought that was a really cool thing that like everybody had different... there's like different areas on the map.
It's a different tier in a sense, and it's like your ground, but you can control vines, or you can control like, the ground itself,
or so like the water, tiers. Or like the fire, right? I also really loved the idea of the Fey Dragon War. I thought that was such a cool thing that they just like didn't get along, but there's like the dragons have gone away.
Yeah,
right.
Which is how the book opens, is with them leaving through the portal.
Yeah. So she goes on these quests, right? Throughout the book. I don't know if you remember. It's been a minute. I had to take some notes because it's obviously been a minute since we both read this. But she goes on some quests, and I almost wanted those drug out more. Like, I wanted more details. I felt like it was happening so fast. And so I was like, okay, what's going on? And she meets the dragon fairly quick.
And I would agree with you. Like, at the beginning of the book, which I think the beginning had the best part of the book that I know of, because it was focusing on her. She was going to the army, and then she went to those tryouts, right?
Yeah.
I feel like after those tryouts is where it instantly stopped, and it was just all rushed.
Yeah.
Because well, I just felt like it was well paced. Because I mean, the man she loved left
was a dick.
Was a douche, right? Which you call right off the bat.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm gonna go teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where it's her magic.
Well, I was excited to see her go through those like trial little things, because she just is like, you like the character. Like, she's pretty cool.
She's basically human to a sense of a little bit of water magic, but she can't use it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay, so then, right, you get into it and everything. Another thing that's cool is the dragons are actually dragon shifters, so they can shift into human form. She meets the main MMC pretty quick.
Correct.
And
yeah, right off the bat.
This is probably a little bit spoilery, but it's like you find it out pretty quick in the book, right? So I don't like Instamate. It's just a trope that's just not my cup of tea, but I could see why people would like knowing that. She doesn't know, he knows. I wished that it would have been something that he kept secret in the back of his head, because you do get his POV. So I wished he would have kept it secret, and she would have like trailed us along as readers, that there's like a thread or like something that it's like
connecting them without us knowing it, and us being like, oh, I bet they're mates, right? Yeah. Instead of it instantly being like, oh, she's my mate. Like, I wish it would have been like the end of the book, or not until book 2.
Right. And this is marketed as an enemies to lovers, right? So I feel like I wanted him to be a little more morally gray and vicious. Mean. Yeah, I did. So I wished that in his brain, like, I don't know, I just wish he was like pretty nice. It's like he was trying to be mean, but he's not actually a mean person.
Yeah, like he was saying, he was like, just when a little he flew soft off for and me. Stuff. When he flew off, he was like, I should just leave her, like, fuck this bitch. Yeah. And then he was like, all of a sudden, it was like, I can't do it.
Yeah, it was like a very like back and forth, but like, I don't know how I felt about it. Like, I obviously, like, I didn't love it, but I liked it overall. I don't know.
I agree with the instant mate. I wish it would have drug that out. Yeah. That's all I can say about that, is it felt rushed in that spot.
And I just wanted him to be like a little more manly. I know that sounds terrible, but I feel like sometimes, like with the fantasy books we read, like you said, they're just like kind of mean and gruff, and I like
yeah, like where they like pin her up against a wall and tell her like, you know what, you would die if it wasn't for me.
Yes. Like, so I think it's hard because he gave me a little more contemporary romance vibes. Like,
I could see it, 100%.
But that's just what I thought. It's not a big deal. But another thing is, like, the main villain, I kind of wanted him to be a little bit more villainous. So, I don't know if you were introduced at that point, but there's a king.
Yeah, there's the king, which I'm guessing he's the reason there's shadow magic or the shadow plague or whatever. And he can infect other people, like his general, right? So, I don't know. I think I got like maybe 1 chapter, maybe 2 chapters of him, but there wasn't a lot. And even with the general, he was only in that 1 chapter at the tryouts and then taking the mom. So.
Yeah, and it's like, you find out like things in this book, and it's like, the plot line is intriguing. It was just very rushed. And I honestly think that I would have liked it more had things gone a little slower. And we were just like, and I'm learning that I really honestly like more of a slow burn, especially because I just read a book that was like extra slow burn, and so it's just hard.
And I think that what would have made this, at least in my point of view, would have made this book more appealing to me is, and this sounds really weird for me, is more world building.
I love world building.
Because, I mean...
But we like fantasy.
But we do like fantasy. But, like, sometimes I can be picky with world building, right? And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, sometimes it just snipped it right out.
Yeah.
But this one, I would have said, I want more world building.
I wanted more development of things. I wanted more.
It progressed
layers.
Way too quickly. Like,
yeah, like it was just like we just like snapped right into it. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like I actually found myself having to like, wait, did that just happen? Or like, where did we just jump to?
Like at that. One point, she meets him. Right, she goes back to her house. Then she ends up into the Earth Castle with that queen. Right.
Yeah.
They were there for a couple days, but it was just like, oh, we've been here for a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now we're leaving.
It and just was like fast. I don't know. It was just fast. One of my I keep calling the character Leaf. His name's Leap.
Leap.
I keep calling him Leaf. I don't know why. Just because, and I'm kind of wondering if that's how I read it, and I just skipped over like what his name was. He's a child, and he reminds me of a lost boy in Peter Pan.
Well, he controls air.
Yeah. So in my brain, like he was like the comic relief, and I loved that. I loved to be able to laugh, and I liked his character. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was more invested in Leaf's character and his interaction.
You just called him Leaf.
I did, whatever, Leap. With the characters, and I think that if he wouldn't have been in there, I don't know if I would have been invested.
More invested.
Yeah, and so, I mean, all in all, in my opinion, right? I mean, not that we need to go over the whole plotline of the book. I did like it. It's not a priority for me to finish the series, but if I wasn't, like, reading anything and I just wanted to pick it back up, I do actually want to know what happened, because it does leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So I did find myself being like, oh, I wonder what happens next. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I need to know. But it was an easy read. I think I read it in a day. That was while annotating it.
You did.
And this is my annotated version, but...
You texted me about it.
Yeah, like it was easy, but I was slightly indifferent to it, which is terrible. I mean, it's not
terrible, though.
I don't know. I have a tendency to feel bad when I'm not loving a book. I don't know why. It's just my own like little guilt that I'm like, somebody put so much work into this. But I liked it. But I do feel like I don't like the way people are marketing this on TikTok, because people are like, oh, if you like Fourth Wing, if you like this, read this dragon opposite book. And I just feel like with the dragons, I like that they're shifters, but nothing to me will ever, dragon-wise, I don't think anything's going to live up to Ternanok, because he's one of my favorite. He's literally one of my favorite characters ever, and it's not even a human or whatever, like, or anything like that. He's literally a dragon, and that they can talk. It's hard. You try not to compare, but it's hard when you read a book like that.
And it's true. It is 100%.
That's just like life-changing.
The bad thing is people compare this books to other books, mm-hmm. right? When in all reality, they're not marketed that way, mm-hmm. or they're not even like that.
Yeah.
So when people say, this is a great Fourth Wing, the next Fourth Wing,
it gives it's not, you... So. I feel like it's just you're gonna...
Gives you a sense of hope that you're...
Yeah, and then you're just gonna be, like, let down. I shouldn't say disappointed, because I still enjoyed the story. It was just one of those that... It was great. I liked it. I didn't love it. And that's all there was to it.
Honestly, I really don't have much opinions about it, except for like the first like 15% was good for me up to where she met the dragon. And then it was rushed.
And like another really nice thing is this is on Kindle Unlimited. So if I'm just not reading anything and I'm just like, whatever, it's really easy to just be like, oh, you know what, I can read this on my phone. Book. Yeah, just pick it up. I feel like this is one that you almost need to dive right back or right into the next one, because there are some changes, like I said, with that cliffhanger at the end where I was more interested. And I'm going to go back to like the villain being more villainous, because there's things that become uncovered.
I believe it. And I'll probably give it another shot. I mean, I'll probably just pick it up where I left off on.
Right.
And just go from there. But right now I'm not in the mood for that. So
yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to say.
It's short and simple.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Be sure to like and subscribe.
And we'll catch you on the next one, guys.
See you later.